Hello, hello, welcome back everyone. Welcome back to the Anatomy of a Rumor and welcome back Mr. Rahul Bakaya.
Hello, Shabat.
Yeah,
How are you?
good man. Rahul is, for those who are listening for the first time, Rahul is the resident guest of this podcast. You will see him appearing after every few weeks. He's a guest, but he's not a guest. So, yeah. How are you doing,
I'm
Rahul?
good. I'm good. Just to add that I'm also the one who gives Shabahat competition on the best place to find biryani in Sydney. So people may
Yeah, yeah,
people may
like.
think Shabahat knows all the places in biryani for biryani, but he has got a competition.
Well, I mean, I don't think anyone can beat Deccan flavors in
Oh
Sydney,
yeah,
but I
whatever.
mean,
Okay,
that's another podcast.
okay.
Today we're going to be diving into a very interesting topic where we're going to basically talk about the right allocation between digital and physical marketing, and how to go about allocating your marketing budget properly and how to create the right marketing mix, because B2B marketing, in fact any marketing, cannot be reliant on a single channel, and how we go about creating that proper mix is something that Rahul is going to enlighten us today on. Sounds good, Rahul?
Sounds good.
Okay, so Rahul, since there are two main competitors when it comes to budget allocation, it's always digital and it's always physical, right? So I want to first start by asking about what is the role of digital versus physical? How do you look at both when what are the use cases? What are the objectives of both when you go about planning a marketing mix with these two channels?
Yeah. So the fundamental question, Shabahat, you need to ask is where would you meet the customer where the customer is willing to listen to you with a maximum bandwidth. And that's the whole purpose of marketing, is to communicate your value proposition in a way where customer can listen to your value proposition and educate himself or herself, uh, and giving you the whole bandwidth basic. So, and that decides whether you go into digital or events. An example is, and this is very anecdotal example. So say, for example, your B2B requires you to sell everything digitally and your conversions are happening and your monetary conversions are happening digitally. Um, Chances of you going to an event minimizes. Um, but if there are chances where you actually need to see someone physically, um, human psychology, you need to have that, physical connection with your customer. They need to see you as a person. And in B2B, as you would know, trust plays a big part, right? And when you see someone, when you hear from someone, when you listen to their conversation, how they talk, how they behave, how they pitch their sales, you develop another, I would say, level of trust with them as compared to just going through the collaterals on the digital world. So it just depends on where your customer is. Yeah.
Okay. So that, I mean, that's fundamentally speaking right. I mean, you meet the customer where they are, but in terms of the objectives of digital and physical, if I were to say, if I were to talk about my own view of
Hmm.
this, I would say that digital, I would prefer digital over physical anytime, because I could use digital in every way. I could use it for brand. I could use it for conversions. I could use it for basically pushing any kind of agenda that I
Hmm.
want. But with physical, is it the same? I think I have a lot more control in the digital environment compared to physical. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you're right. So physical and digital, they're completely different. You will have a completely different interaction, no matter how consistent your content is, because the channel is completely different. You have videos, digital assets, uh, you have blogs, and then on another side you have a real human being who is conveying the message. So it will always be different the way the message is being conveyed. In If you take from a lens of scale, digital will win any day. If your organization purpose is scale marketing at scale, B2B marketing scale, events every day, any day, right? And I have got few reasons that I can enumerate why I say that is because when you're doing marketing at scale, there are certain factors, right? So say, for example, cost is a big factor, right? When you go on to events, it's not, we think about events as just sponsorship. For my marketing friends, they will go like, yeah, okay, this event is going to cost maybe $20,000-$30,000 worth of sponsorship on a diamond sponsor. We get a booth 3x3, and that's how we go. But there's conference fee. There is flying. There's airfare for your sales team or your marketing team. Then there's driving, getting Ubers, getting taxi. And there is accommodation, travel, meals, entertainment. All that adds up. In the world of finance, we marketers tend to think that, okay, only the sponsorship cost is going, but that's not true. So if your sponsorship cost is 20K, add another 10 to 15K of the operational cost, right? Especially if the event is international. Think about that, Then there is time pressure as well. While events may require you to book, hotels and stay in advance, etc., compare that with having a virtual podcast like we are having. No pressure. We rocked up. We know what we are talking about. We can come up with questions. We can discuss, and we can address a large audience, right? So that also helps to scale at a lower cost. The other thing is there are certain risks around turnout rate and availability. So turnout rate is obviously, you may have people who have registered for the event, they may not turn up. Their kid may be sick. They had a fight. They have a quarterly meeting that they can't leave, so they may not actually turn up to the event. That's a risk. And the availability as well. I mean, you may not be available to go and join the event, and you may miss everything, right? With digital, what happens? It's always there. It's always available, right? You can record your sessions. Say, for example, we record this session, and we can play out snippets of these videos through your email newsletters and do some paid ad campaigns. It will always be there. You'll have full control over it. So what I would say when it comes to marketing at scale, I think digital wins. Yeah.
So I want to clarify that you were very articulate about that, but one thing that I want you to be concise and precise on is that how do you look at physical events? Are they a brand play? Are they a sales play? Or are they an awareness play? How do you look at physical events for you? If you were to pick one,
I can't
put them in one big bucket, what would you say?
I gotta pick two.
Okay. Do them in the right priority then.
So my CEO Ranjan, he actually educated me on that. Coming from a non-marketer, right? So he gave me a very good point of view on this one, right? So number one priority of events is you go and close deals. So think about.
And you're talking about sponsored events.
So think about it, right? You pick events very carefully and judiciously, right? Given. And then obviously you work out, if you're a good marketer, you'll work with the event administration, and you'll say, hey, listen, we need to know who is coming to your event. And then we start booking meetings in advance. We want to make sure that we have advanced bookings with our prospects who are attending that meeting. That should be a KPI for marketers and the sales team as well. So event is a sales and marketing play, not just marketing play. And then when you go there, you attend meetings, you use that time to progress your deals, because you think about it, right? If, say, for example, there's an event in Sydney, so you may have all the companies that you need coming to that particular event. So you don't have to spend money to individually go and see them in the office. So from that point of view, you save money to close the deals or progress the deals, right? The second thing is a brand play, obviously, because your ICP in large number is already there. And they're looking at, if you do the events right, if you have proper pre-event and post-event planning, you have the chance to accelerate your brand. And why I say accelerate your brand is, to me, brand is obviously not just the colors, the logos and everything, but also your sales team and your marketers speaking to the customers or future customers and delivering your messaging in a way that you have defined, whether it's being humble, being helpful, being empathetic, whatever your brand value tells you, right? So it's a brand play. So it's a deal progression play and it's a brand play, in that order. That's what my opinion is.
That's a very good answer.
What it's not though, and a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but what it's not though is a lead generation activity.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, there goes my next question. Where do you place them in the funnel? So you probably place them close to the bottom of the funnel.
Absolutely.
Or maybe somewhere in the middle of the funnel.
Middle to bottom of the funnel. I would never put events at the top. Yeah.
Funny we're talking about digital and physical events. A category which is a hot topic and which can be placed in both is ABM. How do you look at ABM and how, like, what do you think? Where should ABM be executed predominantly? Should ABM be executed digitally, or should a major focus be on physical events for ABM?
So it depends on what you want from ABM predominantly, right? So if and as you would know, ABM would have like thousands and thousands of KPIs you can generate, right? As a marketer, your KPI may be to grow more awareness in your key target accounts. As a marketer, you may have a KPI of maybe closing 5 deals from each target accounts annually, right? If it's more awareness in your accounts, and if it's more downloads and whatever that, like if you have got downloading free trial, etc., if it's more of that, I would still recommend going digital. But if it's more around, we have a big ticket item. We have a big ticket item wherein we are selling software worth of millions of dollars. You gotta go events as well, but you still have to do digital anyways, because so think about this, right? When you go and meet someone in events, what you want when someone comes to your booth, right? There are 2 things they can say. Hey, anatomy of a rumor, what do you guys do? Or they can say, hey, anatomy of rumor, I've heard about you, I know what you do. The first one hasn't done any digital, 100%, right? So when they're coming towards you, they need to be aware of the brand already, and you can achieve that only through digital, right? So my recommendation would be, don't go into digital, specifically if you're doing ABM, don't go into events without having a robust digital strategy in place, because not sure how many events you would have faced. You're a pure digital guy. I know that you're passionate about digital. Like I have got white hair now, attending a lot of events. What events is wild west. You have basically 5 windows of networking, and within those 5 windows of networking, you have say for example 300 people getting in, and they are exposed to around 50 sponsors, say for example. Why would they choose you? Why would they spend their time while they're having coffee and muffins? Why would they come to you and talk to you, right? They'll come to you. One of the reasons would be, oh, that's familiar. I know them. I can go to them. I won't have an awkward conversation. I already know them. I can start a conversation with them. I won't look stupid. I already know them what it is. And then they'll say, yeah, okay, yeah. What do you guys do? Can I grab a bottle or can I grab this? So customer feels smarter. So in ABM, you have to make sure that when they are attending the events, you have done enough digital marketing to educate your customers so they feel smarter when they go to your booth. That would be my advice.
And another thing that I've talked to a few clients about that as well is I think ABM through events or physical would make sense when you have a super enterprise client. Like these guys are huge people, and they rarely pay attention to what's going on in the socials
Mhm.
or in the digital channels. I mean, that's probably a time where ABM through physical would make sense. Otherwise, a lot of the time, like you said, it would be a multi-threaded strategy where you would predominantly be on digital to create that awareness, and then maybe use the physical event as a conversion
Yeah.
point. So yeah, cool. While on that topic, even though we were not supposed to talk about that, I mean, another thing is probably intent data that I just want to quickly touch
Mm.
upon. I just want to know your take on intent data. Since we're talking about ABM, a lot of these tools, ABM tools, are centered around intent data as well. So what's your take on the usability or the efficiency of the intent data? How do you look at it? Have you played around a lot with it, or
I have. I have.
yeah?
So look, intent data. If you get a right tool, and the tools that will give you intent data are not cheap, um, right? So if you get the right tool, you get the right intent data. Um, it's not having the most accurate data. It's what you do with that data that is very critical, right? And I'll give you an example, very crude example. So say for example, you have intent data around a marketing software. And this company that you're trying to close, it's in your ICP, your target audience, your target company must have account. You have to close this, and you just see that their one of the intent data is one of the few attributes of that intent data is that they already have an existing marketing automation software that is going to expire within the next 6 months. So you know they will be out in the market either to renew that license or to get rid of it and find something else. That's number one. Number two, then you start doing some more research, right? Um, what are the reasons that your target account will either renew or cancel the license, right? Renew if the target account is really happy and they're like, I love this tool, right? And how you judge that, you see how many the campaigns that they have been doing through that automation, has that increased or has that decreased? So I'll give an example, like if I'm pumping in a lot of HubSpot related link that, it comes with a link when I'm sharing a lot of LinkedIn posts, and someone selling Marketo to me, they will look at it and they will go like, yes, their contract is expiring in 6 months, but damn, they're using HubSpot like anything. Is it worthwhile chasing them? Probably not, because the propensity of them buying my license is very low. But if I see a decline in the activity of using that tool, then I'll go like, yeah, let's reach them out. Hey, listen, Rahul, I've seen that you're not using that tool anymore. I've seen that little bit of a decline. Curious to ask, what are your thoughts on the tool that you are currently using? But that kind of research does require a lot of in-depth study, right? So as I said, insights will give data will give you a lot of insight. Intent data will give you a lot of insights. It's just what you do with that. And this is where I have seen, including myself, this is where I have seen a lot of marketers tend to sort of can't execute. They have the data. What do you do? How do you train your BDRs to go and start hunting based on the intent data? How do you plan your perpetual nurture campaigns based on the intent data? I mean, I have failed, right? I have had experience where I have some success. I haven't seen, I mean, yes, I have seen actually where some of the folks have been very successful, very successful. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about being creative with that
Yeah.
data as far what I'm getting from this. So from as a user and as someone who sells to the enterprise, I know with Prospecta you are selling to the
Hmm.
enterprise. Give a shout out to a couple of intent data tools that have been good in your experience. Let's do some free marketing for some people.
A lot of user acquisition tools will have intent data. So I was actually looking at so Zoom Info is good for enterprise. It is pricey, but it is good.
Yeah.
I mean, then you have there's another platform called Enlift. They do very in-depth intent data, like something that I was saying before. And then if you integrate these intent data, a must integrate this intent data with your website. Throw in some cookies, then you will see if these folks are actually looking for a solution, and if they are looking at your solution. One thing I have seen that has come as a winner in intent data, believe it or not, is G2 Crowd. Yeah,
Okay.
so if you have a good subscription of G2, like I went into a demo for G2, and then if you look at their intent data capability, it's pretty good. And if you integrate with that with LinkedIn and with your website, you can basically see, because what is G2? It's a marketplace. Like, people go and compare different B2B softwares, and then
Exactly.
you can have a look at. So giving you just a crude example, right? I won't bore you to death with the details, but say, for example,
I love
someone.
getting bored to death with marketing
So
details,
someone is
man.
looking at. So say, for example, I go to G2 and I look at HubSpot versus Marketo, right? And if Marketo has got access to G2 enterprise platform where they can see the insights, they would know someone from Prospecta is a head of marketing from Prospecta is looking at HubSpot versus Marketo, right? And if you then integrate that with LinkedIn, it will actually show you, well, who is the head of marketing at Prospecta Software, and then you tailor your outreach emails like that. Hey Rahul, what is your plan on your marketing automation in 2023? Oh, funny you ask. I was actually looking at some tools. So G2 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. And but G2 again, I'm assuming it's not going to be cheap, is it?
I am not quite sure, but I think it won't be as expensive as something like Zoom Info. But I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But um, the other thing is that G2 staff, again, this comes to branding, right? G2, the people I've spoken from G2, all of them, is they're very good. They have the same vibe as HubSpot, very helpful, very empathetic. Um, so yeah, it's if they still come at premium, I wouldn't mind, going with them, because it's just the kind of support they give. Then there's G2 has another competitor called Trust Radius. That's another one. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't give them any shout outs. I mean, Vinay didn't respond to my last message, so I don't want to talk
Don't
about
worry.
it. Okay, cool. Intent data was something that was a personal
Yeah.
curiosity. That's why I put that in. I mean, but going back to the topic of initially what we were speaking about, physical and digital events, basically the B2B marketing mix. Um, a big problem as marketers, Rahul, and I mean, I'm sure you've faced that at some point yourself. I know now you have a lot of lobby inside your own company. People love you. I mean, you comment somewhere, there's like fans following you. But there would have been a time when you were younger and communicating about budget and asking for budget would have been a challenge. How do you communicate? First of all, I mean, you said. What do you think about the budget allocation in terms of digital and physical events? Let's first talk about what your take on that is. Where do you think most of the budget should go, on digital or physical?
Uh, Very interesting question. In B2B space, yeah, in B2B space, you gotta spend money on digital. You gotta spend money on digital, right? Events, you gotta put in mix. You can't avoid them completely under some certain specific situation. You gotta have a very robust digital strategy. Simple reason. How many times do you go to events? once, twice a year.
Very rarely,
How
yeah.
many times you use your phone,
Yeah.
right?
10 times a day.
Yeah. So that's where your customers are already. So you want to make sure if your customers are already there, you want to be there in the best possible way. So B2B, B2B is a lot of research and little conversion.
But that's exactly what I was trying to allude to in my question before I asked for that clarity. I now understand that you, kind of like me, I agree. Digital does deserve a lot of a majority of your spend nowadays because the sheer
So you
scale.
folks, not I'm saying that you, but because I think you are as old as me. Yeah,
Let's
you've shaved your
talk
head.
about that.
I can't see your white hair. But new folks in marketing, they don't have to deal with another competition. Like right now, we just have to debate whether digital versus events. My time, it used to be digital versus events versus print. Beat that.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, nothing beats a good old direct
Yeah,
mail.
beat that. So yeah, so I mean, I'll tell you an example. My mentor and one of my digital marketing gurus from whom I've learned a lot. Sam, his name is Sam Shetty, and so he told me an example, very interesting example, and he went to a business and where the CEO was like, "Hey, listen, I understand you guys do this, social media marketing and PPC and all that digital stuff. Completely understand, but that's not really. I mean, we have been doing prints, we have been doing printing a lot of brochures. This is a long time back, right? A lot of brochures. I think it works for us. We want to do more ads, but I don't know. I mean, we don't understand digital. I don't think that it works." And he was like, "Why don't we do one thing? You have a town hall right now. Why don't we go and ask certain questions to your employees?" Yeah, let's go. He went there. He was like, "All right, can all the people who have made a recent purchase in the last week, can all of you raise your hands?" And everyone, like, they're like 80% people raising their hands. All of the people who have made that purchase after reading a brochure, please raise your hands. No one raises their hand, right? Because no one reads the brochure anymore. Brochure goes into the bin. So that's how that expired. And now, no, I'm not doing a stupid comparison between events and brochures. It's just because events you can still track,
Exactly.
not as sophisticated as digital. You can still track, but when it comes to tracking, and remember, you are a cost center. Marketing is still a cost center, and you need to tell the business your ROI. You will always have good data with digital as compared to events.
And it's beyond ROI sometimes, Rahul. I feel, especially when you're selling a high ACV product, the executive teams or the decision makers are just not bought into the power of digital in that case, and they tend to be more inclined towards physical. In a situation like that, how do you suggest a marketer go about communicating the value and getting the right spend allocated towards digital? How to basically communicate to the stakeholder or the C-suite or the CFO, whoever it is?
Yeah. So basically, when so here's what I would advise first. If you see that someone who is holding the budget has got very strong opinions, I wouldn't debate. That's a philosophical suggestion. I wouldn't debate.
I think that's a very logical
Yeah, yeah.
answer.
I wouldn't debate with them. I'm like, yeah, okay, no problem. That's what you want to do. Let's do that. If someone comes to you and asks you, "Hey, listen, I'm confused between doing an event and a digital campaign. How do I allocate?" The best question you can ask, from my opinion only, and your audience may have different opinions, from my opinion, is just ask, what is your end goal? What would you like to see after this campaign? If the answer is, I want to see, after I spend this money, I want to see some deals come through. I want to see, I'm trying to get into this account, and I would like to get them in my active pipeline. Go for events, right? Do a little bit of digital, but allocate some in events, because you want to go and see them physically, shake hands, close the deal, move forward. And if they go like, yeah, I don't know, I mean, not a lot of people know about us. We need to build up a brand. We need to let people know that we are leaders in this, in what we do, and we need to increase our user base, our audience base, digitally. Because when you listen to these words, this is all scalability, and you can't achieve that from events. So you say, okay, listen, if you want to do this, I mean, we can go events way as well, but then you can get into nitty-gritty, like cost per impression is going to be over the roof. And I can get you the same result with this one, and I can show you the matrices. You should always come up with a little bit of research. And there was this research done by Google probably a decade ago, when I think Google was still marketing their paid services. So they came up with a research. I don't remember the number properly, but it takes around on digital platform, on a buying platform, it takes around 327 or something along those interaction for a prospect to convert into a customer. Right? Now you think about B2B. That was D2C, right? So,
And that was 10 years ago.
10 years ago. Now you need to convince more. You need
exactly. There's a lot more noise than before.
You need to convince more. The other thing I say is a trump card, I would say, is always use the idea of things that are beyond your control. So today, I don't know how much of your audience have faced the COVID repercussions of the events. I did, personally. I had to cancel a lot of events, and that came as a cost to the business. And if I wasn't ready digitally, we would have lost a lot of business, right? So if you think from an economic perspective, and this is why they teach economics in marketing, so you can listen to macroeconomics, right? And if you think from a macroeconomics perspective, that there are events such as recession going to happen, interest rates are going to go high, all those things, maybe cut down on your events. Because if interest rates are going to go high and companies are going to go on budget cuts, they won't sponsor travel for your customers, right? They will go like, no, we can't let you go and attend events. Just stay at your office and do some digital. Right? Think about those things as well. Yeah.
Cool. That was originally supposed to be the final talking point, but I just came up. I think this is a hot question right now, and a lot of people would have that in their mind. I want to know your take on it. A lot of uncertainty in the market. We talked about macro. You just touched on macroeconomic conditions, and we are going through macro uncertainty in terms of our financial markets and economic conditions. Are you seeing repercussions of it in your business? Are you seeing a hesitancy towards buying software, or are you seeing no difference at the moment? And how are you preparing yourself how are you bracing yourself for any uncertainty down the road?
So I won't comment too much on what we are doing at Prospecta, obviously, because of the confidentiality. But Prospecta is pretty strong, all thanks to our CEO Ranjan and our CFO having a robust strategy. We don't spend like crazy, right? We do spend, but we spend around our outcomes. Even if when I'm going to events, I have specific outcomes. If I'm doing a campaign, I have specific outcomes. And so for us, it has been really good. Our customers have been really good, and we have been serving our customers, and they are happy. In general, as I've been seeing, and my commentaries around general tech business as well, as you can see, unfortunately, we are seeing a lot of layoffs, and that's not good. I don't know, or maybe I'm too immature to understand this, but I don't know how cost saving starts from firing people at the first place. I don't know how that, I don't know what is that understanding of um, and then I've seen certain organizations where raising capital and then letting people go. Um, it's there are a lot of complicated discussions happening as to why this is. One of very interesting uh, take on this letting people go and the tech crunch I heard from a very experienced person on LinkedIn, uh, probably with an experience more than our age. um, and he said very interesting thing, right? I don't remember his name, but he said a very interesting thing. Right? He said a lot of these entrepreneurs, when they go and open a company, they do not have the management experience of being a CEO, right? You're 25, 30 years old, opening and becoming a CEO. So when it comes to maybe getting into a very difficult situation, they may not have empathy towards the employees. You know, they may. Oh,
Maybe even just the strategic
yeah,
maturity.
yeah, that's the right word. Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah.
Spot on. Right. So they may not have that strategic maturity, but that only
Hmm.
comes with time. Even I don't have that strategic maturity, right? Today you will go like, hey, listen, let's become a CEO of this. I wouldn't be able to. Like, I would want to, but I wouldn't be able to, right? I don't have because I'm not thinking 20 years down the line. I'm used to think like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line, right? And this is all this gig and Gary Vaynerchuk kind of, yeah, do it now, produce everything.
Content.
The garage sale, and people not respecting the wisdom and knowledge they used to get from schools and universities where they teach all these things and then spend a lot of time with organization and learn from mistakes. I think we don't give enough credit to the experience now. And that's where I think, from my point of view, that's where tech is failing. I mean, look at the data breaches. Like, I mean, say for example, if there was like a cybersecurity engineer on and leading the cybersecurity team, do you think he'll go like, no, we don't need cybersecurity measures, we'll be fine? You'll go like, put all the measures in place, and definitely that was a stupid breach, right? And that's why I think we don't respect expertise and experience anymore.
Just a quick question before I want to try rapid fire around with you, which I haven't. But before we go into that, have you been PR trained?
Why do you ask?
Because you very smoothly ignored the real question and moved it away from Prospecta into. But yeah, that was smart. I like that.
But I told you the
so there's
truth.
something. And I was interested in that, and that's when I realized, hang on a sec, he played me there.
but okay, here's I'll answer in another way. So our CEO has probably got 3 decades of experience, right? So he sees these things like probably 6-7 months in advance, and he starts preparing. Right? There's so much I learn when I'm sitting with him. And same goes for our CFO, Julian, and he has got. I mean, he's ex Deloitte, and he's been partner, he's been CEO, and these folks they have experience more than my age. And when they see things, they know how to mold to outperform in these kind of difficult situations.
Yeah, and exactly that's I mean, bang on. That exactly goes back to your initial point where you said, I mean, these people lack experience, and hence the short-term thinking. Fire 10 people. Well, you have to fire 10 people because you didn't prepare in advance, and now you're in a shithole situation where you need to preserve cash from some place to survive another couple of months, and an employee is the best way to do it. So very nice. Okay, Rahul. I haven't done this with you, but I've started doing this thing with the last few guests on the show, where I do a little rapid fire session. It's a mix of personal and professional
Right.
questions. You need to answer very concisely and very quickly. Okay, so you ready for that?
Yep. Okay, let's go for it.
Okay, let's go. A movie or season you're watching?
Shit. None.
Oh man, oh your life sucks, man.
There isn't anything, right? There's
What kind of an Indian are you? I mean, Bollywood, man. I mean,
No.
anything, no
I've
movies.
seen it all.
Okay, cool. I'll give you that. A podcast you're listening to.
Anatomy of a Roma. And that's true. I don't listen to
Wow.
anything else. Yep.
Oh, I'm flat. Yeah, flattered, man. Favorite food?
Biryani.
Yeah. Favorite book?
How to explain SEO to your boss or to anyone.
Shameless plug. Actually, I received the copy recently. I just put it somewhere. I received it this afternoon.
Okay, do let me know how,
Oh,
how
yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, certainly. Favorite holiday spot?
India.
Okay, anywhere particular
Delhi.
in India?
Do a lot of shopping.
Yeah.
Eat lot of food. And go to Old Delhi and eat all the street food.
Are you from Delhi originally?
No, I'm from Jammu. I'm not from Delhi.
You're from Jammu. Oh, you're a Kashmiri. That explains the fair complexion. Favorite brand and why?
In what?
What?
Yeah, like favorite brand in like what, in clothing or in
It could be anything. A brand that you admire.
the brand that I admire, Tom Ford.
Well, I don't need a why for that. I think it's self-explanatory there. a thought leader you follow.
I follow a few. I follow Seth Godin. For marketing, I follow Seth Godin. I do follow sometimes I used to follow Neil Patel as well. He's a little bit of knowledgeable person as well. Yeah.
With Seth, I don't know if you can call him a marketing personality anymore. I think he's become a leadership and a product guy now.
Who's?
Because all his marketing advice is all about products now. He says the marketing is all product.
Yeah. Oh, Seth Godin.
Seth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
very philosophical as well sometimes. So, yeah.
Favorite marketing channel?
Favorite marketing channel? Oh, that's it all depends on what, but I'll currently I'm using a lot of LinkedIn, so LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Ah, cool. Favorite MarTech tool?
HubSpot.
An unpopular marketing opinion.
An unpopular marketing opinion. Make the logo bigger; it will give you more sale.
Maybe that's another podcast again. Most valuable lesson in your career?
Expand on what you can control. Don't worry on what you can't. Your life shouldn't be governed by what people think, but should be governed by what you can do.
Excellent. What role did a mentor play in your career, and who was that mentor?
I had few.
I think we touched on that.
Yeah, I had few So I had few mentors. One for marketing, one for example, when it comes to obviously financial investments, and one for life. I think from a marketing point of view, Sam has been a good mentor, and he was the one who shared a lot of customer conversations with me around digital, taught me a lot around digital. I think life mentor would be my wife. She's my North Star, so she can tell me, where I'm going wrong, where I'm going right, and I do the same thing for her. So yeah,
That's beautiful. Yeah, my wife is my coach as well. Advice for a young marketer or an aspiring marketer?
learn the basics of marketing first before jumping into channels. You need to understand 4 Ps, study economics, study the effect of psychology, human psychology, cognitive behavior, all those things before you actually start jumping on creating a Facebook ad.
Excellent. Excellent. The final question and the big one. If I gave you $10 million tomorrow, what would you do with it?
If you give me $10 million tomorrow, oh, you know what? I always
Don't spend it all on LinkedIn though.
$10 million just for me.
Yeah, it's yours.
Yeah,
what would you do?
I always, if I get $10 million, what will I do, right? And I actually have a prepared answer for that, believe it or not. Yeah.
Go for it.
First, pay off my home loan. Second, rest of the money I will keep 1 million for my leisure. And then the 70% of the money I will distribute in buying 7 different properties. And then resign, and then just don't work and spend all the time with my wife and my kid.
And then wear nothing but shorts all the time. Yeah. That's the dream.
Funny enough, I actually don't. I mean, I don't know if it's relevant or not, but I don't actually own a pair of shorts.
Damn.
Damn. I think so it's a thing, like, you know, when my father, he was very strict on what you will wear when you go outside your house, and he was like, look, if you're going for a meeting, you got to wear trousers, your jeans needs to have proper hems, and shorts, you're not young enough to wear shorts. You know, you're adult, wear jeans, wear pants, cover your legs. So I actually never got into thongs and shorts ever.
Yeah, my father was quite the opposite actually. He was a very strict man in various other departments of life, but when it came to clothing, like he wanted bare minimum.
Right.
Like he used to come back from the office and it was a singlet that he was rocking all the time. Yeah. Cool, man. Look, man, excellent chat as always. You and I initially thought we will go 25, 30 minutes and we're almost at 50 minutes. So great having you, man. Thanks for your time. Thanks for the insights and look forward to catching up again.
Likewise, Shabbat. Have a nice day.
Ciao.